If you've ever built an AI agent in n8n and thought, why is it saying weird stuff that I didn't ask for? Yep, that's called hallucination. And when you're building AI agents for real business use, like handling customer messages, writing emails, or automating workflows, those random made-up responses, they're a deal breaker. Now, the good news is you can actually shape how your AI agent behaves by tweaking a few key settings, like temperature, top P, and token limits, and etc. These aren't just techie sliders, they directly control how smart, safe, and predictable your AI agent is. So in this video, I'll show you how to fine-tune these settings so your AI agent gives reliable, focused, and on-brand responses every single time, whether you're building it for your team or for paying clients. So let's dive right in. Now, these settings that I'm talking about, this is inside your chat model itself. So for example, this is a random AI agent or a typical AI agent in n8n. Now, the trigger could be a chat, it could be email, whatever it may be. But when you attach a chat model, for example, an OpenAI chat model or a OpenRouter chat model that you can have option to interact with any of these models that are available through OpenRouter. So for example, let's take a look at OpenAI chat model, for example. So once you select the model, whether it's GPT-4 mini or 4.1 or whatever it may be, in the bottom, there's this section called options. So if you click on add options, you have all these different options that are available for you, and these are the ones that we're going to specifically focus on. I'm going to go through each one of these and explain them exactly one by one to let you know when to use them, what are they used for, and then also give you examples of business use cases. Now, if you're part of the community, I have put together this document in the business section, so it's part of the client success toolkit. So you will have access to this right here, everything explained there. But if you're not part of the community, that's fine. You can just follow me along. I'll explain each of them one by one, so that way you have an idea of when to use this for what purpose. All right, so the first one is going to be the frequency penalty. Now, think of this as a don't repeat yourself filter, right? It tells the AI agent to avoid using the same words over and over again, even if they're technically valid. So for example, if you set the parameter here to low, so like 0.0, then this is fine for data tasks like if you're generating JSON or code where repetition is expected. Now, if you set this high, so for example, if you set this to 1.0, then what this does is this adds variety. So this is useful when output starts sounding more robotic or spammy. Now, a good business use case for this is like, let's say you're building a support AI agent that keeps saying, let me help you with that, right? In every single message. So boost frequency penalty to reduce the redundancy. So for example, you would increase the penalty here to reduce the redundancy and make the responses more like natural and human-like. But if you keep it at 0, like I mentioned before, this will sound more robotic, and this will be useful if your output is JSON or some kind of a code. All right, so the second one is maximum number of tokens. Now, this controls how long the response is allowed to be. One token is approximately 3/4 of a word. So if you're generating long emails, you need more tokens. If you're generating short tweets, then you need fewer. So if you put -1 here, which when you click on this option, the default is -1, this uses the model's full length, and it could go up to thousands of tokens. So if you want any kind of predictability as far as how much word or how many tokens you're allowed, then make sure you set something. So for example, if you set something between, let's say 50 to 100, now this would be ideal for alerts, title, or really short replies. If you put like 300 to 600 here, then this will be better for like summaries, product descriptions, or full length emails. So for example, if your output of this AI agent is a full length email, then you might want to put something like 300 to 600, right? So because that way it can give you that exact detail. Now, a business use case, again, would be, let's say you're creating a real estate listing generator or a weekly newsletter bot, right? So you would set the higher token limit, like 700, to make sure that the AI can write complete, useful content without cutting off mid-sentences. So very, very important. Make sure you utilize this. Now, obviously, when you're creating complex workflows, especially for businesses and for clients, you need somewhere to host these things. And one of the best options is the Hostinger, because I use this for personal use case, of course, because if you want security, if you want reliability, especially for clients, and you want them to host in a cloud server, that they have full control over, then Hostinger is the best option. Now, I'll put the link in the description. You can click on this. You'll come right here. This is the N8N VPS. So the best option, in my opinion, is the KVM2, because this gives you all of the necessary, especially whether you're using this personal or for your clients. This is the best option available. So you would just click on this plan. So you're just going to click on choose plan here. And this is going to bring up all these different options that are available. Now, the best options is to get the longer one. So that way you save the most amount of money. You can do 24 or 12 months. I would suggest going with the 24 months because this will give you the best deal. And then also the great thing is, because Hostinger has been kind enough to sponsor this video, they gave us an extra coupon code. So if you click on have a coupon code, all you have to do is type AI Workshop, and this will click on apply. This will give you an additional 10% off. I mean, this is honestly the best deal. For like 24 months, you get $150. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. You would leave everything else as it is. The great thing about Hostinger is they have server locations all over the world. So if you're in the West Coast, you'll just leave. This will automatically select everything for you. And then the only thing you need to do in the left-hand side here is you're going to click search for N8N. And this will bring this one right here. So you're going to click on this, and you're going to click on confirm. That's it. You're going to click on continue. This is the easiest way to set this thing up. All you have to do is just sign up for an account, or if you already have an account, you can log in. So I'm just going to use my account that I already have. This is going to load it in a little bit. All right. And then you'll set up put your billing address and your payment. And then all you have to do is click on continue, and this will get this thing installed. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and set my stuff, and then I'll show you what's next. All right. So once you put your payment and address information, everything you'll click on install. It will install everything, and you'll be right here. So now all you have to do is click on manage, and this will open up you can skip the section. This will open up your dashboard, and then everything will be running right here. The only thing you need to do now is click on manage app, and this will open your N8N. And then now, if it's your first time, it will make you sign up. If you've already used this before, you'll just sign in, and that's it. That's all you need. It's the simplest way to host N8N on your own local cloud server, and then you have again the reliability of Hostinger. So whether you're building this thing for clients or for your own personal use, in my opinion, this is the best option out there. Now, the next one is going to be the response format. Now, this defines how the AI should actually structure its answer. So most of the time, text is fine, right? But for advanced automations, you may need to use JSON, for example. So by default, it does come as text. But if you're generating like advanced AI agents that the response you want it to be JSON, so you would just select JSON. But you can see right here, it says you must include, if you're using the JSON format, you must include the word JSON in the prompt in your chain or agent. And again, so there's a few things that you need to do extra here. So this will be particularly used for more advanced AI agents. But for most of it, you're going to leave it as text. Now, a business use case for this would be, so if your AI agent is part of, let's say, a sentiment analysis workflow, right? And you wanted to return a particular JSON that says, like, for example, sentiment equals positive, then you would select this to be JSON. So that way you can directly use that output downstream in your N8N logic. Now, the third one is called the presence penalty. Now, this encourages idea diversity. What it means is that it nudges the model to explore new concepts instead of circling around the same exact theme. So if you set something like 0.0, which is the standard, this will stick to what's already been mentioned. But if you set something like higher, like 1.0, this will push for novelty and creative leaps. Now, this will be useful if you're developing, let's say, a brand name generator for clients, for instance, right? So you would increase the presence penalty to ensure that you don't get the same flavor of names over and over again. Now, this is key for creative brainstorming bots. So you can use that whenever the creative is necessary. And then the next one is called the sampling temperature. Now, this is also a very important one as well. This controls how random or predictable the AI agent's output is. So if you put something like low, so if you put something between like 0.2 to 0.4, now what this will do is this is like for serious fact-based tasks. Like, for example, if your AI agent is used in legal support or documentation, then you would set the sampling temperature to lower. So that way you have kind of predictable and fact-based output, right? So the median would be between 0.5 to 0.7. Now this is more of a balance. This is kind of good for overall. That's why when you let me get rid of this so that we can see it again. As soon as you click, by default, it's like 0.7 because that's kind of like a balance, which is like a general sample and temperature for majority of staff. So for example, if you're building chatbots or email assistants, so that between 0.5 to 0.7 is the more standard one. Now high between 0.8 to 1. Now this is great for creativity. So for example, if you're using it for marketing or storytelling, then you would increase the temperature to between 0.8 to 1. Now a business use case, for example, would be if you're building an AI agent that writes LinkedIn headlines or email subject lines, you would use a higher temperature, right, to get fresh, eye-catching ideas. But for compliance response agent or something that requires predictable outcome, you want to keep it low between 0.2 to 0.3, let's say, to avoid any kind of hallucinations or odd phrasing. All right, so the next one is timeout. Now, this sets how long the n8n AI agent waits for OpenAI to respond before treating it as a failed request, right? So if you put it to, let's say, 6,000, which is, again, it comes by default, this will be 60 seconds. So this will be ideal for generating long form content or slow processing tasks, right? So if you put it between 10,000 to 15,000, which is, again, 10 seconds to 15 seconds. This is again great for chatbots or UIs where user expects instant answers, right? So a business use case for this will be if you're running an internal document summarizer, for example, you give it more time, like 60 seconds, for example. But if for like live support bots, then you cut the time out to 10 seconds so the users aren't stuck waiting too long. All right, so the next one is max retries. Now this determines how many times and it then retries if, like, for example, OpenAI fails due to rate limits or timeouts. So if you put between 0 to 1, that's the minimal retries. Now this is better for developing or testing where you want to see failures really, really fast. Now 2 to 3, which is kind of the default that comes as a default, it's 2. 2 to 3 is kind of a smoother user experience in production. So it reduces failed outputs from like momentary blips. Now a business use case, for example, would be if you're deploying a lead qualification agent, right, that handles incoming inquiries, you add retries so occasional API hiccups, for example, don't kill your entire workflow. So that's where this is used. Again, like the max retries is not that common unless you're building something kind of on the development side, then you're not going to really use this. So you kind of keep it at standard. All right, and the last one is called Top P. Now, Top P, this is like narrowing down a pool of safe word choices, for example. So Top P sets a threshold. Again, you would only use this, you'd only use the most likely words until a probability sum is reached. Now, what that means is like, if your top P is 1, anything goes, right? This is full randomness, basically. But if your top P is between 0.2 to 0.4, the output would be ultra predictable, and this is safe for responses. This is very similar to the temperature, but there's a difference between the top P and temperature. Now, top P limits which words are considered, and then temperature controls how random the choice among those words are, right? So for example, a business use case would be if you're building a AI agent contract writer, the lower top P, like 0.3, let's say, it will ensure that it sticks to standard, reliable legal terms. And if it's a social media caption generator, then you would use something like 0.8 and above to unlock more flavor and variety. All right, well, hopefully you learned a thing or two about AI agents and how to control the outcome and try to make it a bit more predictable and real use case. Now, again, if you want to learn how to get your first paying client, make sure you check out the AI Workshop community, because I have an entire Launch Your AI Agency course with n8n where we'll literally start you from day one. It's a 5-week program. We help you set your niche, pick your niche, set up your business. This is like step-by-step tutorial. We show you how to pitch to clients, how to run discovery calls. We even show you all of the AI workshop because we have our own agency. So we give you all of the resources that we have to make sure that when you're getting in front of your clients, you're successful. So we provide you, for example, sample pricing, how to price, how to send proposals, and everything you need in order for you to be successful AI agency owner and start making money with n8n. And then, of course, in our community, we have an absolute beginners course as well, So if you're new to n8n, this is a place where you would want to start. Well, we start you from the absolute basics of AI automations and then give you step-by-step beginner friendly tutorials as well, so that way you can learn their skill and then start to monetize it down the line. Obviously, all of my YouTube resources, including the n8n blueprints, are all in the classroom section as well. And then we also have our calendar section, which we have daily calls that you can jump in and ask us any questions. And then, of course, we have our amazing community members where people are there to collaborate with each other and help one another out and make really meaningful connections. So make sure you check it out. I'm going to put the link in the description. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.